The conference room smells like expensive perfume and cheaper ambition. I'm leaning against the wall near the projector, my arms crossed, trying to ignore the coffee stain on my shirt cuff. Up front, Victoria is holding court. She's got 3 VCs from Sandhill Road nodding like those bobbleheads people keep on dashboards. And that's how Northbridge is redefining the liquidity layer for SMBs. She finishes, flipping her hair over her shoulder. She looks flawless. The self-made CEO narrative fits her like a second skin. She turns slightly, gesturing toward me without looking. Oh, and this is Dan. He handles our ops. Part-time consultant. A polite chuckle ripples through the room. No one asks me a question. They never do. After the meeting breaks, I follow her into her office. I close the heavy door, the click of the latch sounding louder than it should. Part-time? I say, keeping my voice flat. I pulled an all-nighter fixing the risk model your full-time team couldn't crack. Victoria is already peeling off her blazer, tossing it onto the chair. She doesn't look at me. Don't start. Daniel, you know the brand. You agreed to this. I agreed to stay in the shadows until Series B closed. It closed 6 months ago. Victoria, we're staring down a Series C. When do I get to stop being the ghost in your machine? She finally spins around. Her eyes narrowed. Why are you so obsessed with credit? We're married. It's our money. I laugh. But there's no humor in it. It's not about the money. It's about the fact that I'm the one who got the FDIC waiver signed. I'm the one who brought in Chase and Wells Fargo. But to these guys, I'm just the guy who refills the toner. Before she can snap back, her new assistant, Logan, swaggers in. He's wearing a suit that probably costs more than my car. He's got that slick, toothy grin that makes my fists clench. Hey, Vic, Logan says, completely ignoring me. He drops a folder on her desk. Just got the final paperwork from HR. Everything's set. Victoria's face softens when she looks at him. It's a look I haven't seen directed at me in years. She flips open the folder, scans the numbers, and picks up her pen. I lean over to glance at the sheet. My eyes catch the line item. Sign-on bonus. $30.000.00. Below that, corporate housing allocation. Hudson Yards penthouse. I blink. 30 grand? On day one, Logan finally deigns to look at me. He smirks, tilting his head. Relax. Dan, it's not like they're giving it to you. Besides, I've got an MBA from Wharton. I understand synergy. He says the word like it's a secret handshake. He doesn't need an MBA to fetch your dry cleaning. I mutter, looking back at Victoria. You gave me $1,000 3 years ago. Total. And now him? Victoria signs the form with a sharp, decisive flick of her wrist. She slides it back to Logan, then looks at me with that icy stare she reserves for underperforming interns. Daniel, we pay you in equity. Or have you forgotten? And Logan here understands optics. He knows how to talk to people without looking like he just crawled out of a server room. I look down at my shirt. The coffee stain mocks me. I was in the server room because our optics guy doesn't know a firewall from a firewall sale at Macy's. Enough. Victoria snaps. She stands up, smoothing her pencil skirt. Logan is taking over the institutional meetings starting next week. You could transition him into the client relationships and try to wear something without stains. You're making us look cheap. Logan chuckles, patting me on the shoulder as he walks past. Tough break, old man. But hey, maybe you can consult for me? I'll see if we have $1,000 left in the petty cash. I watch them. Victoria is already scrolling through her phone, dismissing me. I stand there for a long moment, feeling the air leave the room. I walk to the door, then pause. Victoria. She doesn't look up. What? You told me that after the next round, you'd tell them. You promised I wouldn't be a secret anymore. She sighs, heavily, like I'm a child asking for a third cookie. We'll discuss it later. Right now, I need you to be a team player. Go clean up the database or something. I step out of her office and walk straight to the legal wing. Marissa, our general counsel, looks up from her screen, surprised to see me. I never come down here. Daniel, everything okay? I need to read family trust files. I say, my voice is steady, but my heart is hammering against my ribs. The original articles of incorporation and the collateral agreements for the bank lines. Marissa hesitates. Those are usually handled by me. I cut her off. I'm the grantor. I want to see them. She pulls a thick manila folder from the fireproof cabinet. I take it and sit at the empty conference table in the corner. I spread the documents out. There it is, page after page of dense legalese. but the names are clear. Guarantor, Daniel Reed. Trustee of the Reed Family Trust. Beneficial ownership, 18% Class B shares. Collateral pledge, full personal guarantee of Daniel Reed for all Northbridge banking facilities. I lean back in the leather chair, the cool air of the vent blowing on my neck. For 3 years, I let her play CEO. I let her take the bows while I held the strings. I did it because I loved her, because I wanted her to have something that was hers. But watching her sign away $30,000 to a pretty boy who can't balance a checkbook while she hands me a $1,000 memory, something in my chest cracks. I pull out my phone and scroll to the contact list. I find a number for Jonathan Pierce at JP Morgan. I hover my thumb over the call button. If I call him, the game is over. If I don't, I'm just the janitor in my own empire. I look at the door. Through the glass, I can see Logan strutting down the hall, Victoria laughing at something he said. She looks happy, happier than she's looked with me in years. I put the phone down. Not yet, but soon. I gather the papers, tucking them back into the folder. I walk back to Marissa, make sure these stay accessible. I'll be needing them weekly from now on. She nods, looking confused. Is there a problem with the trust? No problem, I say, my voice low. I meet her eyes. Just a change in management strategy. I walk out of the legal office and head back to my tiny, windowless consultant cubicle. I sit down at the desk. There's a framed photo of Victoria and me from the day we launched. We're both smiling. She's looking at the camera. I'm looking at her. I pick up the frame and turn it face down. Then, I open my laptop. I start drafting a resignation letter. I don't save it. I just type it out, watching the words fill the white screen. Each keystroke feels like a nail in a coffin. By the time I shut the laptop, the sun is setting. The office is emptying out. I hear Victoria's heels clicking down the hallway. She stops at my cubicle. Still here? She asks, her tone softer now that we're alone. Look, I'm sorry about earlier. Logan's just good for appearances. Don't take it personally. I look up at her. In the dim light, she looks tired, but still beautiful. Still the woman I fell for. I don't take it personally. I lie. I take it professionally. She frowns. What's that supposed to mean? It means I'm going to start taking the equity part of our arrangement a bit more literally. I say. I stand up, grabbing my jacket. Enjoy your evening. Victoria. Tell Logan I said congratulations on the new place. The view must be incredible. I walk past her. She doesn't stop me. I don't look back. I take the elevator down to the garage, get in my beat-up Subaru, and drive. I don't go home. I drive to the pier and sit there, watching the lights of the city reflect on the black water. I pull out the trust documents again. I run my finger over the signature line. My name, my company, my rules. I think about the $1.000 check she gave me last year. I still have it, framed on my desk like a trophy for being a good husband. I wonder what she'd say if she knew that the Reed family trust she loves to mention in interviews is the only thing keeping Northbridge's credit lines from vanishing overnight. I pull out my phone again. This time, I don't hesitate. I dial Jonathan Pierce. He picks up on the second ring. Daniel, long time. How's the fintech world treating you? Jonathan, I say, my voice calm. I'm calling regarding the Northbridge facilities. I need to review the personal guarantee clauses at your earliest convenience. There's a pause on the line. Everything okay? Usually, Victoria handles the operational calls. Victoria handles the PR. I correct him. I handle the risk. And I'm reviewing our exposure. I'll be in touch next week to discuss the terms of my continued involvement. I hang up before he can ask another question. I sit in the silence of the car. The only sound the ticking of the cooling engine. I look at the glowing skyline. Northbridge is up there, somewhere in that glass tower. Victoria is probably pouring a glass of wine, thinking about her next big win. Logan is probably picking out throw pillows for his new apartment. And me? I'm sitting in the dark, holding the matches. I start the car and pull away from the pier. I drive home, but I don't sleep. I spend the night at my kitchen table, surrounded by legal pads filled with numbers and clauses. By sunrise, I have a plan. It starts with a signature, and it ends with a crash. I look at the clock. 7 a.m. Time to go to work. I grab my jacket, the one without the coffee stain dot. I threw the other one in the trash dot and head for the door. As I pass the mirror in the hall, I stop. I look at myself. I don't look like a consultant. I don't look like a ghost. I look like a man who's done playing nice. I head back to Northbridge. The lobby is just starting to fill with the morning rush. I nod at the security guard, who barely glances at me. I take the elevator up to the executive floor. The doors open, and I walk past the receptionist without a word. I head straight for Victoria's office. She isn't there yet. I walk to my cubicle, but I don't sit down. I open a drawer and pull out the framed $1,000 check. I place it in the center of my desk, facing the door. Then, I sit down and wait. It doesn't take long. Victoria sweeps in 20 minutes later, Logan trailing behind her like a well-dressed shadow. She stops dead when she sees me. Her eyes narrow. Daniel, what are you doing here so early? I lean back in my chair, steepling my fingers. Waiting for you. Victoria, we need to talk about the future of Northbridge. Logan steps forward, his smile condescending. Whoa, Dan, the big guy's up early. Did you finally figure out how to use the espresso machine? I don't look at him. I keep my eyes locked on Victoria. Tell him to leave. Victoria, this is between us. She waves Logan off with a flick of her wrist. Give us a minute. Logan, he shrugs, shooting me a dirty look before disappearing into his new corner office. Victoria steps into my cubicle, closing the door behind her. What is this about? She asks, her voice low. You're acting strange. I'm acting like the person who owns 18% of this company and guarantees 90% of its debt. I say, I tap the framed check. I've been thinking about this. About us. About the last 3 years. She crosses her arms, leaning against the door. And I think it's time I stop being your secret. I say, I'm going to start taking credit for my work. Victoria, starting today, I'm going to the board meeting this afternoon, and I'm introducing myself as the co-founder. I'm telling them about the trust. I'm telling them who really got the banks to sign. Her face pales. You wouldn't. It would ruin everything. My image. Your image is built on a lie. I cut her off, and I'm tired of being the liar, so you can be the hero. She pushes off the door, stepping closer. She reaches out, her hand hovering near my cheek, but she doesn't touch me. Daniel, please, don't do this. We can work this out. After the Series C, I'll make you president. You'll what? I ask, standing up. I'm taller than her. I've always been taller, but she spent 3 years making me feel small. You'll give me permission to exist? No, Victoria, I don't need your permission anymore. I pick up the framed check. This is all I've gotten from you in 3 years. $1,000 for building an empire. Do you know what Logan got? $30,000 for doing nothing. He's an investment in our future. She hisses. No, I say, shaking my head. He's an investment in your ego, and I'm done funding it. I brush past her, opening the door. Logan is hovering nearby, pretending to look at his phone. He looks up, his grin fading when he sees the look on my face. Move, Logan, I say. He steps aside, his eyes wide. I walk down the hall, my footsteps echoing. I don't go to my cubicle. I go to the elevator. I press the button for the lobby. As the door slides shut, I see Victoria standing in the hallway, watching me. She looks small, for the first time in 3 years. She looks like she's the one who's scared. The elevator descends. I look at the framed check in my hands. I'm going to keep it, not as a reminder of what she took from me, but as a receipt for what I'm about to take back. When the doors open, I step out into the sunlight. The city is awake. The towers are gleaming. And for the first time in a long time, I'm not looking up at them. I'm looking straight ahead. Game on. The boardroom smells like ozone and fear. I'm sitting at the far end of the table. The framed $1,000 check propped against my water glass. Victoria is at the head, tapping a pen against her iPad, avoiding my gaze. Logan is to her right, grinning like he's already spent his sign-on bonus twice over. Let's begin, Victoria says, her voice tight. She doesn't look at me. First order of business. Organizational restructuring. Effective immediately. Daniel's consulting contract is terminated. Logan will be assuming full responsibility for all institutional relations and risk oversight. A few board members shift in their seats. Old man Harrison, the lead independent director, squints at me. Daniel, you're the one who handled the FDIC waiver, correct? Before I can answer, Logan leans forward, spreading his hands. Did a great job warming the bench. Mr. Harrison, but it's time for some fresh blood. I've got a few ideas to streamline our leverage ratios that really make the numbers pop for the Series C. I don't react. I just watch Victoria. She's staring at her pen, her jaw tight. She hasn't stopped me, not even a glance. This is it, the moment I've been waiting for. and she's letting it happen without a fight. Logan slides a manila envelope across the table toward me. It hits the polished wood with a soft thud. Dan, inside is your final consultant fee. $1,000. Consider it a thank you for not burning the place down on your way out. He smiles, showing too many teeth. Try not to spend it all in one place. Yeah, a few junior VPs chuckle. Harrison doesn't. He looks at Victoria. Victoria? Any comment on the transition? Daniel's name is on half our regulatory filings. Victoria finally looks up. Her eyes are cold, her posture rigid. Daniel understands the need for discretion. He'll sign the necessary releases. It's better this way. Clean break. No distractions as we head into the funding round. She pauses, her gaze flicking to me for a split second. Be gracious. Daniel, take the check. Don't make this ugly for either of us. Silence. The AC hums. I look at the envelope, then at her. 3 years of sleeping 4 hours a night, of burying my name in her shadow, of building the foundation she's standing on. And this is the payoff. $1,000 and a suggestion to disappear quietly. I reach for the envelope, tear it open slowly, pull out the check. It's dated today. The signature is Victoria's. Sharp and angry. I hold it up, letting the light catch the ink. $1,000. I say, my voice quiet. I look at Logan. You got $30,000 yesterday. For knowing synergy. I shift my gaze to Victoria. And I got this. For knowing the difference between a solvency ratio and a social media strategy. Logan's smirk falters. Jesus. Dan, it's not a personal attack. It's business. You're just not investor-facing material. No hard feelings, right? I don't answer him. I pick up the pen lying next to the check. Victoria's pen. Monogrammed with her initials. I click it open. The sound is loud in the room. I sign the back of the check with a slow, deliberate stroke. My full name. Not Dan. Daniel Reed. I place the signed check back on the table, sliding it precisely back into the envelope. Then I push the envelope toward Logan. Keep it. Buy yourself a clue about Basel III. I stand up. The chair scrapes back, sharp and final. Every eye in the room follows me. Victoria's knuckles are white around her pen. Effective immediately. I say, addressing the board now. Not her. I resign my position as consultant and withdraw my personal guarantees from all Northbridge facilities. Effective close of business today. You'll find the relevant notices filed with legal and copied to your respective offices. Good luck with your Series C. I turn and walk toward the door. I don't look back. I hear Victoria's chair scrape, hear her sharp intake of breath. But she doesn't call my name. She lets me go. In the elevator, I pull out my phone. I dial Jonathan Pierce at JP Morgan first. Jonathan, Daniel Reed. I resigned from Northbridge effective today. Per our agreement, the Reed Family Trust is withdrawing all personal guarantees for their credit lines. Send the termination docs to my private email. I hang up before he can respond. Then I call the other two banks. Same message, same result. Stunned silence. Followed by rapid-fire questions I don't bother answering. Back in my apartment, I change out of the stained shirt and into a clean one. Ipua whiskey, neat, and sit at my desk. The framed $1,000 check sits in the center, catching the late afternoon light. My phone starts ringing. Victoria. I let it go to voicemail. Then it's Logan. Then Harrison. I silence the phone. An hour later, the first email hits. From Northbridge's general counsel. Subject, urgent. Credit line status that I deleted. Then another. From Victoria's personal account. Daniel, call me. Now did I delete that one too? By sunset, the news hits the wires. Northbridge Capital faces credit freeze hours before major funding announcement. I refresh the browser. The stock, which had been climbing on pre-announcement hype, starts to dip, then plummet. My doorbell rings. I check the monitor. Victoria is there. Her hair mussed. Hair makeup smooth. She's not wearing her CEO armor. Just a silk blouse and a look of pure panic. I buzz her in. She bursts through the door, not waiting for me to open it fully. Are you insane? Do you have any idea what you've done? $30 billion in credit lines just vanished. Poof. Because of you, I stay seated, swirling the whiskey. I withdrew a guarantee I was never obligated to provide indefinitely. You wanted me gone. I'm gone. The trust doesn't underwrite failures. Victoria, it underwrites me. You can't do this. She shrieks, slamming her hands on my desk. The check frame rattles. We have a binding agreement. The board. The board knows I'm the trustee. They know the contracts. They've known for 3 years. You're the only one who forgot. I lean forward, meeting her wild eyes. Or did you think part-time ops guy was magically keeping JP Morgan at bay? She staggers back, her breath coming in ragged gasps. Fix it, Daniel. Please. I'll make you president. I'll tell them everything. Just call Jonathan. Tell him it was a mistake. I stand up, slowly. I walk around the desk until I'm inches from her. I can smell her expensive perfume, now soured by sweat and fear. You handed me $1,000 check today. Victoria, you told me to be gracious and disappear. So I am. You bought a story to the self-made queen and the useless husband. Congratulations. You got exactly what you paid for. I pick up the framed check from the desk. I hold it between us. This isn't a buyout. It's a receipt. And a return policy expired the moment you signed Logan's bonus package. She reaches for me, her hand trembling. I step back, letting her grasp air. Daniel, I'm sorry. I didn't mean please. I shake my head. You meant every word. You just didn't mean for there to be consequences. I walk to the door and open it. Good night, Victoria. Tell Logan the view from the penthouse is great. But the foundation's rotting. She doesn't move at first. Then, slowly, she backs toward the door, her eyes never leaving mine. She looks smaller than I've ever seen her. Defeated, as she crosses the threshold, she whispers, "The board meeting, tomorrow morning, they're going to crucify me." I close the door gently, cutting off her voice. I lock it. Then I return to my desk and open my laptop. Emails are flooding in. Clients, investors, reporters. I ignore them. Instead, I open a new document. At the top, I type, "Read Capital, Series A Strategy." Outside, the city lights blur through the window. Somewhere uptown, Northbridge is in free fall. Somewhere downtown, Logan is probably realizing his synergy doesn't include actual banking relationships. And here, in the quiet, I'm building something new. I glance at the framed check one last time. $1,000. The cheapest investment I ever made. And the most profitable. My phone vibrates. A text from Harrison. "Board emergency at 7 a.m. Need you here. Name your price." I don't reply. I close the laptop. Tomorrow, they'll learn the same lesson Victoria learned today. You can't fire the architect and expect the house to stand. I finish the whiskey, set the glass down, and turn off the light. In the darkness, I can almost hear the crashing caishreur. Let it burn. Dawn breaks gray and cold. I'm at my kitchen table, coffee in hand, watching the news crawl across my tablet. Northbridge's stock is in a nosedive. Credit crisis. The anchors say, mysterious withdrawal of key guarantor. They keep mentioning Victoria's name. Her face flashing on screen, the confident CEO from yesterday. Now a cautionary tale. My doorbell rings again. This time, it's Harrison. Alone. He looks older. His suit rumpled. I let him in. Offering coffee, he refuses with a wave. "Daniel," he says, his voice gravelly. "You made your point. Brilliantly, if I'm honest. But the company's collapsing. Hundreds of jobs. Our investments. Fix it." I sip my coffee. I fixed it for 3 years. "Harrison, I'm done. She'll lose everything," he says, not unkindly. Her reputation, the company, maybe even face charges if the regulators sniff out how deep this goes. Then she should have read the fine print, I say, or at least the bonus checks she was signing. He sighs, rubbing his temples. Logan's a fool. We all see that now. But Victoria, she's not a bad CEO. Daniel, she's just a terrible wife to you. Give her a chance to undo this. I set the mug down. There's nothing to undo. The trust is withdrawn. The contracts are void. Northbridge is a shell without my name on those guarantees. That's not cruelty. Harrison, it's math. He looks at the framed check on my desk. That's quite a statement piece. It's a reminder, I say, of what happens when you confuse the messenger with the message. He's quiet for a long moment. Then he nods. Slowly. The board meets in an hour. We're voting her out. Logan's already lawyered up. Looks like he's been cooking the books to hide his own expenses. He meets my eyes. You could step in. As interim CEO, say what's left. I shake my head. I'm not saving anything. I'm building something new. And everyone who matters at the banks, the VCs, the clients that they know whose signature counts. They'll come to me. They already are. As if on cue. My phone buzzes. Jonathan Pierce. I answer it. Turning away from Harrison. Jonathan. Daniel. We've processed the withdrawal. Shame about Northbridge. But we understand. Listen, the partners and I were hoping to schedule a breakfast next week. Discuss your new venture. We'd like to lead the Series A, assuming the terms are right. I glance at Harrison over my shoulder. He's watching me, understanding dawning in his eyes. Send me a deck. Jonathan. I'll review it. I hang up. Harrison exhales slowly. So that's it. Then, you're walking away from the wreckage and starting fresh. I'm walking away from a lie. I correct him, and starting with the truth. He nods, standing up. For what it's worth. I'm sorry. We all should have seen it sooner. Seen you sooner. I don't respond. He lets himself out. I'm alone again. I pick up the tablet. Watching the latest update. Northbridge suspends trading pending investigation. Victoria's face is replaced by a graphic of a sinking ship. I close the tablet. The game isn't over. It's just beginning. And this time, I'm not playing in the shadows. I stand, straightening my cuffs. Today, I'll draft the prospectus for Reed Capital. Tomorrow, I'll meet with the banks. And someday soon, I'll watch Victoria try to rebuild from the ashes, only to realize the phoenix only rises when the architect allows it. I walk to the window, looking out at the city. Somewhere, she's learning that the crown she wore was never hers to begin with. It was borrowed, and the lender just called in the debt. I smile, a thin, cold curve of my lips. Let her crash. I'll be there to pick up the pieces, the ones worth keeping. The end of Chapter 2, the beginning of the reckoning. The thud of the front door still echoes when my phone starts vibrating against the wood grain of my kitchen table. I don't check the screen. Only 2 people are calling me right now, and neither deserves the courtesy of a glance. I take a slow sip of black coffee. No sugar. The way I've drunk it every morning for 3 years while Victoria sipped $12 oat milk lattes in the Northbridge break room. The vibration stops. Starts again. Persistent. Desperate. I know which one it is before I flip the phone over. Logan's voice hits my ear like a rusty nail the second I answer. Reed, you smug son of a bitch. Do you have any idea what you just did? The credit lines are frozen. The Series C is dead. And Victoria's losing her shit. Fix it. Now. I lean back in my chair. The framed $1,000 check digging into my palm. Fix what? Logan? The mess you made cooking the books for the last 6 weeks? Silence on the line. I can hear his breathing. Fast and shallow. The clatter of what sounds like a bourbon bottle hitting a marble counter. You don't know shit. I know you inflated our LTV ratios by 22% to hit your synergy targets for the board. I know you moved $200,000 from the marketing slush fund to your personal account last Tuesday that wired it to the same offshore account you used to pay for that corporate housing furniture. I know you forged Victoria's signature on 3 expense reports last month because she was too busy sucking up to VCs to read a single line. I pause. Let that sink in. Enjoy the SEC visit. Logan, I forwarded the wire records to them this morning. I hang up before he can scream again. Block his number. My phone buzzes once more. Victoria. This time, but I swipe it to silent. She'll get her turn. 10 minutes later, there's a knock at the door. Not the frantic pounding I expect from Logan, but a measured rap. I open it to find Harrison, his suit wrinkled, his reading glasses shoved into his thinning hair. He's carrying a manila folder thick enough to choke a horse. Kid, he says, pushing past me without waiting for an invite. He drops the folder on my table, right next to the check frame. You were right. Every goddamn word. He flips the folder open, pages fluttering, and jabs a gnarled finger at a highlighted line. Logan moved $1.2 million total. Half to that Hudson Yards penthouse. Half to a Cayman account under his mom's maiden name. Victoria signed off on the big expenses. She's got terrible handwriting when she's hungover. Easy to mimic. But the internal memos? All his. We got him cold. I skim the pages, stopping at a copy of a wire transfer with Logan's messy scrawl in the margin. Vic won't notice. LOL. She'll claim she didn't know. Harrison snorts, rubbing his temples. She should have known. She was too busy preening for the cameras and fucking the help to read a single line of the doc she signed. The board's already drafted her resignation letter. We're handing it to her in 5 minutes. We're also filing a complaint with the SEC before lunch that her name's on the top. Even if she didn't forge the shit, she signed it. He looks up at me, his eyes tired but sharp. We need you to sign off on the trust withdrawal officially. The banks are freaking out, but they'll calm down if you tell them you're not coming after Northbridge's remaining assets. I close the folder. I'm not. Let the vultures pick the bones. I've got bigger things to worry about. Harrison follows my gaze to the stack of term sheets piled next to my laptop. JP Morgan, Goldman, Wells Fargo, all marked draft. Read Capital Series A. He lets out a low whistle. They're already lining up for you. Huh. Should have seen this coming 3 years ago. We all should have. He stands, adjusting his tie. For what it's worth. Sorry, we let her use you. Won't happen again. He pauses at the door. Oh, and Logan's on his way here. He called the board office, screaming about you framing him. I'm on a brace for that. I nod, already reaching for my coffee. I'm counting on it. 5 minutes later, the pounding starts, hard enough to rattle the check frame. I open the door, and Logan stumbles in. His Tom Ford suit wrinkled, his hair greasy, his eyes bloodshot. He's holding a USB drive like it's a grenade. Read, you think you're so smart? He spits, shoving the drive toward me. I've got proof. Proof you forced me to cook the books. I'll take you down with us. Tell the SEC you were the one pulling the strings. That Victoria and I were just following orders. I step aside, letting him lurch into my entryway. I pull up a recording on my phone. Hit play. Logan's voice, slurred from whiskey and arrogance, fills the small space. Vic doesn't read the fine print. Man, I could tell her the sky's green and she'd sign off on it. Easy money. It's from 2 weeks ago, when he thought I was still the part-time ops guy too stupid to bug my own office. Logan's face goes white. He lunges for the phone. I sidestep, grab his wrist, and twist that not hard, just enough to make him squeak. I've been forwarding that to the SEC every day for the last month. Logan, along with the bank transfer records, the forged signature samples, and the email chain where you asked our junior analyst to massage the numbers for you. You're done. I let go. Wipe my hand on my pants like I've touched something dirty. Get out before I call the cops. He stands there shaking, the USB drive slipping from his grip and clattering to the floor. You'll regret this. No, I cut him off. You'll regret thinking a $30,000 sign-on bonus made you smarter than the guy who built the company from scratch. Now get the fuck out of my apartment. He turns and bolts, nearly tripping over the welcome mat. I watch him go, then bend down to pick up the USB drive. I snap it in half, drop the pieces in the trash, and close the door. My phone buzzes again. Victoria. This time, I answer, mostly because I want to hear her break. Daniel. Her voice is raw, cracked from crying. The board just fired me. They're pressing charges. Logan, he ran. He left a note that says I was the mastermind. I didn't. Daniel. I swear I didn't. I just trusted him. I thought he knew what he was doing. You didn't ask him to lie. Victoria. I say, my voice flat. You just didn't care enough to check. There's a difference, but not one that matters to the SEC. She starts sobbing. Wet, gulping sounds that make the phone crackle. I'll give you everything. The house. The shares. The company that just tell them you'll stay on as guarantor. Please, Daniel, I'm begging you. I'll tell everyone you're the co-founder. I'll put your name on every press release. Too late. I say. I hang up before she can finish. 20 minutes later, there's a softer knock. I open the door to find Victoria standing there. Her silk blouse wrinkled, her mascara smeared down her cheeks, one high heel dangling from her foot. She's clutching a torn-up copy of her resignation letter, the edges crumpled in her fist. Daniel, she whispers, stepping forward like she's afraid I'll slam the door in her face. Please, I'm nothing without you. Northbridge is nothing without you. I didn't mean it, that any of it. The things I said, the way I treated you. I was stupid. I was so stupid. I walk to my desk, pick up the framed $1,000 check, and hold it out to her. She stares at it, tears dripping onto the glass, blurring my signature on the back. You used this to buy a story. I say, my voice low enough that she has to lean in to hear. The story that I was a nobody. A part-time consultant you kept around out of pity. You cashed that check every time you introduced me as Dan the ops guy. Every time you laughed at my coffee-stained shirts. Every time you handed Logan a $30,000 bonus for knowing how to say synergy. Now you want to return it? Wanting to take back the company. The marriage. The whole damn lie? I pull the frame back before she can touch it. Too bad. You can't buy something back when you never paid full price for it in the first place. That $1,000 bought my silence for 3 years. It doesn't buy my loyalty now. She sinks to her knees, not caring about the hardwood floor, not caring about the neighbors who might hear. I loved you. Daniel, I do love you. You love the version of me you invented. I correct her, the quiet, grateful helper who'd never ask for credit. You loved having a secret weapon you could pull out when things got tough, then stuff back in the closet when the cameras turned on. You never loved me. You loved what I let you pretend I was. She reaches for my hand. I step back. Get up. Victoria, you look pathetic. She does, slowly, wiping her cheeks with the back of her hand. What am I supposed to do? The SEC's coming. The board hates me. Logan's gone. I have nothing. You have exactly what you paid for. I say. I walk to the door. Hold it open. $1,000 exit. Use it wisely. She stands there for a long moment, staring at me like she's seeing me for the first time. I never thought you'd actually leave. She whispers. You never thought I actually existed. I reply. Close the door on your way out. She leaves. I listen to her heels click down the hall, growing fainter until they disappear entirely. I walk back to my desk, set the check frame down, and open my laptop. There's an email from Jonathan Pierce at JP Morgan. Term sheet for Reed Capital Series A attached. $50 million commitment. Lead investor. Let's sign by Friday. I hit reply, type accepted, and hit send. My phone buzzes again. Harrison. Logan just got picked up by the FBI outside his penthouse. Victoria's lawyering up. Northbridge's stock is getting delisted by noon. We're liquidating assets by end of week. I delete the message. Another buzz. Sarah Chun, one of our 3 core institutional clients. The one who's been with us since day one. Heard you're spinning up Reed Capital. We'd like to move our $400 million portfolio over ASAP. Name your fee. I smile. A thin, cold curve of my lips. Type done, and hit send. I glance at the check frame one last time. The $1,000 amount catches the morning light, glinting like a medal, a reminder, a receipt, a fuck you to the woman who thought she could buy my legacy for pocket change. Downstairs, I hear the distant wail of a police siren. I walk to the window, pull back the curtain just enough to see Logan being shoved into the back of an unmarked car, his face pressed against the glass, his eyes wild. He catches sight of me, starts screaming, but the glass is thick. I can't hear a word. I let the curtain fall, pick up my jacket, grab my laptop. Time to go to work. The hallway is quiet now. No Victoria, no Logan, no ghosts, just me, the weight of my name, and the empire I'm about to build. Point one that doesn't need a pretty face to sell a lie. I lock the door behind me, tuck the key into my pocket, and head for the elevator. The brass buttons gleam. I press lobby, and as the doors slide shut, I catch my reflection in the metal. No coffee stains, no hunched shoulders, no part-time ops guy staring back. Just Daniel Reed, founder, owner, the guy who writes the checks now. The elevator descends. Somewhere uptown, Victoria is packing her bags. Somewhere downtown, Logan's lawyering up. Somewhere in between, the banks are already moving their capital to my new accounts. I step out into the lobby, nod at the doorman, and walk into the morning sun. I don't look back. I don't need to. The crash is already over. The rebuild? That's all mine. The morning of the Reed Capital launch, I'm in my new corner office on the 42nd floor, looking down at the Northbridge building 3 blocks over. Their windows are dark. Mine are gleaming. My phone buzzes. It's Harrison. Kid, you watching the tape? Northbridge just got delisted, trading at 9 cents a share. Victoria's legal team is trying to spin it as market volatility, but the SEC's having none of it. They're filing criminal charges by noon. I lean back, steepling my fingers. Good. Let her explain synergy to a federal judge. She's asking for you again. Harrison says, his tone dry, says she wants to make peace before the arraignment. I told her you don't negotiate with liabilities. Tell her to save her breath for the plea deal. I say, hanging up, a knock at the door. Sarah Chun, my new COO, sticks her head in. Daniel, we're ready for the press briefing. JP Morgan, Goldman, and the 3 core clients are all on the live feed. And Victoria's outside. She's not on the list. I stand, adjust my cuffs, let her in, put her in the back. I want her to see exactly what she traded for a $30.000 smile. Sarah nods, a flicker of approval in her eyes. She's ex-Goldman. Zero patience for drama. Exactly why I hired her. I walk into the briefing room. The crowd is thick. Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, CNBC, reporters I haven't spoken to in 3 years. all suddenly very interested in Daniel Reed. Fintech visionary. I take the podium, tap the mic once. 3 years ago, I helped build a company called Northbridge. Today, I'm launching Reed Capital. We're not here to talk about the past. We're here to talk about a $500 million Series A, led by JP Morgan, with commitments from every major institutional client who used to rely on Northbridge's credit lines. Why? Because those lines weren't backed by Northbridge. They were backed by me. I pause, letting that sink in. Cameras flash. Someone in the back. Victoria lets out a choke sound. I don't look at her. Reed Capital isn't a rebrand. It's a correction. We're not selling a narrative. We're selling math. And unlike some firms, we don't need a pretty face to hide the numbers. A reporter raises a hand. Mr. Reed, what's your response to former Northbridge CEO Victoria Reed's claims that you abandoned the company during a critical funding round? I smile, cold and thin. Abandoned? I built the foundation. She tore it down to hang a nicer picture. When she handed me a $1.000 check for 3 years of work, she wasn't paying me. She was pricing herself out of the market. I just let her finish the transaction. Another reporter. Sources say Victoria Reed is facing up to 10 years for financial fraud. Any comment? I'm not her lawyer. I say, but I will say this. When you confuse a personal assistant's MBA with actual risk management, you get what you pay for. And she paid $30.000 for a lesson that cost her a $2 billion valuation. I wrap it up, announce the first close for next week, and step away from the podium. The room erupts in questions, but I ignore them. I walk straight to the back, where Victoria is standing near the exit. Her face blotchy, her dress wrinkled. She looks like she hasn't slept in days. Daniel, she whispers, reaching for my arm. I step back, and her hand falls. You weren't invited. I say, my voice low enough that only she hears. I saw the broadcast. She says, her voice cracking. I didn't know. I didn't know it was all you. I thought I built it. I thought I was the one. You were the one signing checks. I cut her off. I was the one making sure the checks didn't bounce. There's a difference. You chose to believe the lie because it made you feel powerful. Now you get to live with the truth. She starts crying. Not the dramatic sobs from my apartment, but quiet, broken gasps. I'm going to prison. Daniel, they're taking everything. The house, the cars, the clothes. I have nothing. Not even a reference for a job flipping burgers. You have exactly what you earned. I say, $1,000 exit and a felony record. Use it to rethink your definition of self-made. I turn to leave. She grabs my wrist. Her grip weak. Wait, please. Just tell the court I didn't know about Logan's fraud. Say I was just a figurehead. You owe me that much that we were married. I peel her fingers off my wrist. One by one. I owed you honesty. I gave you 3 years of it. You owed me respect. You gave me a $1.000 check. We're square. I walk out, leaving her standing there. Sarah falls into step beside me. SEC just filed. Wire fraud. Securities fraud. Conspiracy. She's looking at 8 to 10. Logan took a plea that turned state's evidence. He'll get 3 years. Max. Good. I say. Let him spend his sign-on bonus on commissary. Back in my office. I find a small, wrap box on my desk. No note. I open it. Inside is the $1.000 check. The original. The one I signed in the boardroom. It's been shredded, then taped back together haphazardly. Next to it is a photo of Victoria and me at the Northbridge launch. 3 years ago. She's smiling at the camera. I'm looking at her. I toss the box in the trash. Pick up the phone. Sarah, give me Jonathan Pierce at JP Morgan. I want to move the series a close-up to Monday. Done, she says. Also, Victoria's lawyer just called. She's waiving her right to a trial. Plea deals on the table. She's asking for one thing. A meeting with you before sentencing. Denied. I say. Hanging up. The rest of the day is a blur of term sheets, handshake deals, and backslaps from VCs who used to ignore me. By 6 p.m., I'm alone in my office. The city lights blurring below. My phone buzzes one last time. Unknown number. I answer anyway. Daniel. It's Victoria. Her voice hollow. I'm at the courthouse. They're processing me now. I wanted to say thank you. I stay silent. Not for the job, for the truth. I hated you for leaving, but you were right. I was a fraud. I built my life on your shadow. And when you stepped out of it, I couldn't stand the light. I'm sorry. For everything. She pauses. and I hear a metallic clang. Handcuffs. Maybe. I'm going to plead guilty. No fight. I deserve it. But, Daniel, when they ask me who really built Northbridge, I'm going to tell them. I'm going to tell them it was you. Even if it doesn't change my sentence. It's the truth. And I owe you that much. She hangs up. I set the phone down. Stare at the darkened Northbridge building one last time. Then I close the blinds. Turn on my desk lamp. And open the first file for Reed Capital's Q1 projections. 2 weeks later, I'm on my desk when Sarah walks in, dropping a folded newspaper on my desk. The headline, former Northbridge CEO Victoria Reed sentenced to 7 years for fraud. Below it, a smaller piece. Logan pleads guilty, cooperates in federal probe. I scan the article. Victoria's statement to the court is quoted. I accept full responsibility. Northbridge was built on the genius of my husband, Daniel Reed. I took credit for his work, and I paid the price. I hope he builds something greater without me. Sarah raises an eyebrow. She actually did it. Gave you full credit. Balls a move, considering it won't shorten her sentence by a day. She's not doing it for me. I say, folding the paper and tossing it in the recycling bin. She's doing it because it's the only true thing she's said in 3 years. And the truth is all she has left. Sarah nods, then grins. JP Morgan just wired the Series A funds. We're live. Also, the 3 core clients want to double their commitments. Seems your shadow founder story is playing well with the pension funds. I smile. A real one this time. Told you math beats synergy. She leaves, and I pull out the framed $1.000 check from my bottom drawer. I sit on my desk, next to a new photo.me at the Reed Capital launch, surrounded by the same bankers who once ignored me. In the photo, I'm not looking at anyone. I'm looking straight ahead, at the camera, at the future. I pick up a pen, unscrew the frame, and slide the check out. I tear it in half, then quarters, then eighths, until the pieces are confetti in my palm. I dump them in the trash can, where they belong. My phone buzzes. Jonathan Pierce. Heard about the sentencing. Victoria did the right thing. Finally, drinks next week to celebrate the close? I type back. Send the calendar invite. I'll bring the math. I lean back, close my eyes, and listen to the hum of the city below. Somewhere, Victoria's learning that prison orange isn't a good look for her. Somewhere, Logan's realizing that synergy doesn't translate to cellmate. And here, I'm building something that doesn't need a pretty face, a slick assistant, or a $1.000 lie to stand tall. The door opens. Sarah again, holding a bottle of Macallan. Celebratory drink. You've earned it. I take the bottle, pour 2 fingers into a glass. To the rebuild. I say, to the rebuild. She echoes, clinking her glass against mine. I take a sip, the smoke and peat burning down my throat. Outside, the sun is setting, painting the skyline gold. Northbridge is a dark smudge in the distance. Reed Capital is a beacon. I set the glass down, open my laptop, and start typing the agenda for tomorrow's board meeting. The past is dead. The future is math, and I'm the only one holding the calculator.